May 25th, 1977, came the first movie to revolutionize the entire genre of sci-fi. Before it became the most well-known series of sci-fi movies, this iconic collection of movies had humble beginnings. With no well-known actors besides Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan, the first movie, A New Hope, was expected to flop. Even most of the actors didn't expect it to succeed, and the few who didn't see the worldwide massive success they had achieved.
20th Century Fox and George Lucas bring you an adventure unlike anything on your planet. Star Wars.
Alec Guinness, the most well-known actor on the cast, actually hated this movie, thinking it was affecting children in a negative way. He even told a fan who wanted an autograph that he would give him one if he stopped watching Star Wars. Star Wars very quickly gained massive success among children and adults alike. Everyone loved the story of how a child could become a hero, and eventually it led to the second film, Empire Strikes Back, which also gained success, due to the people who wanted to see what happened to their favorite characters or just how the story ended. But as soon as the Battle of Hoth ended, fans knew that this wasn't the last movie, that there was going to be a third in the trilogy. It was a smart move by Lucas to pull in as much money as possible to continue funding for the Star Wars movies, but in a way it also frustrated fans because they'd have to wait another year to see how this trilogy ended. Some people say the third movie wasn't worth the wait, though, and that it was the worst movie in the originals. The third movie of the Star Wars trilogy, The Return of the Jedi, was successful in some ways and not in others. In the box office, it got a whopping $572,705,079, but among fans, it was the least liked among the originals. In my opinion, nothing can beat this classic fight scene between Luke and Darth Vader at the end of Return of the Jedi. That's my opinion. But it also includes one of the most iconic scenes ever in the films, which is Darth Vader hurling the Emperor into the abyss. Let's take a look at that scene. The next movie in the trilogy came quite a bit later than the originals. I'm talking about 17 years. And it made a lot of money, but was one of the most hated movies of the Star Wars franchise. The only part of this movie that was at least partially interesting was the duel between Darth Maul, Qui-Gon Jinn, and a young Obi-Wan. In the end, as you know, spoiler alert, but Qui-Gon Jinn gets stabbed and such. The second of the prequels, Attack of the Clones, was also hated by fans due to its cheesy vibe and bad acting, but in the end, it still gained money from viewers who were expecting something better. Even with the help of the late Christopher Lee, this movie became known for its overuse of CGI and the bad acting that came with it. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, was not the most hated of the prequels, and actually had the famous line of, "It's over, Anakin, I have the high ground." A scene that became popular in this movie was the scene where Anakin is transformed into Darth Vader. Let's take a look. next movie in this series was Episode 7, The Force Awakens, which once again came out quite a bit later than the prequels, coming out in 2015. Star Wars 7 was loved among critics and fans alike. On Rotten Tomatoes, it scored a 92% with critics and an 89% with the audience. Very rare to get certified fresh. This movie tells the story of Rey, an aspiring Jedi whose parents abandoned her on a planet and she had to fend for herself. Next up, we have the most recent of the Star Wars films, Rogue One, a story of how the rebels got their hands on the Death Star plans. This scene in the movie is one of my favorites because it just shows the ultimate power of Darth Vader. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what retro event you'd like me to cover next.